Remember, the goals of November. It's VAR, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the VAR treason shall ever be forgot. The only verdict is vitiation, a vendetta, held as a votive, not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day villainize the valueless and vile state of VAR.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brews and Banter, where we unravel the tapestry of football's finest moments with a dash of rebellion and a pint in hand. I'm your host, Redbeard, the voice in the shadows, and joining me in this footballing revolution is the indomitable Targo. Together, we guide you through this labyrinth of match week 11 in the EPL. So grab your favorite brew, settle into the shadows, and let the banter commence. Remember, the goals of November.
All right, let's move on to another game that was filled with a little bit of controversy. Just a little bit. We We hosting Arsenal. This one would end 1-0 to Newcastle. And I gotta say, man, so for what little goal mouth action there was in this game, it was a very entertaining game to watch.
I absolutely loved this match. If you take the goal and the VAR controversy out of it, one of the best games I've seen all season. This was physical. This was late 90s style Premier League football. Great refereeing that just let them play on. There were some incidents that VAR unfortunately had to take hold of.
Or didn't take hold of.
But it was fantastic, man. And this deserved to be a draw so much. Like a 0-0 draw, and no one's talking about any VAR controversy whatsoever.
So yeah, like you said, it was old school battle type of game. I guess we'll start with the first bit of controversy involving Bruno Guimaraes, who would be involved quite a bit in this game. Had a forearm that went to the head of Jorginho after he had played the ball away. Deliberate movement of his arm, elbow towards his head.
I don't know how VAR missed it. He literally runs past Jorginho. When Jorginho gets the ball and plays it, he has his eyes set on him, runs at him, raises the elbow, and hits him with his forearm right in the side of the head. How do you not see that that is violent conduct? How do you not see that?
The only excuse I can give VAR is they felt maybe it wasn't enough force. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to defend it, and it's very hard because that is an obvious red card.
An opponent. If this happened to anybody, any other team in the Premier League or the world, I would say the same thing. Intent to hurt an opponent. Ball is nowhere near him. Red card. Every single time.
Honestly, Bruno could have had 2 red cards, man.
Probably 2 or 3, yes. But I mean, it's literally the letter of the law for violent conduct. Like, if you were to read it, it literally explains this situation.
So he got another lucky one on Jorginho. Jorginho plays the ball away, and he just straight shoves him down to the ground. He gets in the face of Declan Rice. They're pushing. He gets nothing for there.
It's what happened before that, too, is he literally kicked the ball at Declan Rice. Puts the ball down, kicks it at him. Declan Rice gets in his face. He goes, puts his hands around his throat area. They get in a shoving match.
It was chest. It looked chest to me. He does eventually get a yellow for a hand into the face. Probably wasn't his face. Probably more his throat into Fabio Vieira.
Yeah, the one that I would say probably is the least of all of them, and probably I would say just a foul, not even a yellow card. Makes no sense.
Speaking of a yellow card, we have a Kai Havertz tackle. I believe it was on Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, it was in the first
Dan
one.
Burn. One of them. So he goes in for a tackle, ugly tackle. He's looking to
In
ninja
the
kick.
air, trying. I mean, it looks like a mixture of he's trying to block the ball and take out the opponent. Like, that's how high he came in. But it also looks like he's trying to block it because he's well ahead of the person kicking the ball.
I will say this one looked a lot worse live than on the
we were freaking out.
slow-mo.
Yeah.
So when he goes in, his studs don't catch the player. It's his trailing leg that's on the ground catches the player's standing foot. I can see why it would hurt. You know, you can roll your ankle like that. It was a yellow card, but what was hilarious to me is Kai Havertz gets a yellow card for this tackle. But then after a result of all the arguing and shoving, 3 Newcastle players get yellow cards.
Yeah. And Kai Havertz shushes the entire Newcastle bench. It's fantastic. But yeah, it was.
Do you think it was a red? I know there was lots.
There's a lot of controversy with this one. I think it's the same as the Udogie one. If he makes any more contact than what he did, it's a red. Otherwise, it's a yellow. Plain and simple. End of story.
A high yellow. We'll call it that.
Sure.
All right, well, let's talk about the goal. Scored by Anthony Gordon in the 64th minute. It starts off, there's a cross that goes across the keeper. Looks like it goes out of bounds.
Do you want to just
from some of the
go
angles
one by one, or do you want to go through all of them at a time?
We'll start with the out of bounds. We'll go one by one. So it looks like the ball goes out of bounds from some angles. But again, this is a ball. You can't... I can see anyway how part of it could be in. I can see that.
Yes. But let's not forget, okay? Manchester United had a similar situation where the ball looked a lot less out of bounds against Brighton. It got called out of bounds. Got called out of bounds and said it was clear and obvious, even though Rashford's ankle and foot are in the way of the line. This one, you can see the entire ball, the entire bit of grass on the other side of the line. I do understand we're talking 3 dimensions here, right? It still could be in bounds. This is probably out of the 4 shouts for this goal, I have the least issue with. It's just
here's where I have the most issue.
Go ahead.
Here's where I have the most issue. How the fuck is there not a camera on that line? All this technology, all this money, and that's the best camera view for...
Over 30 cameras on this pitch. Over 30.
They need to add one more, apparently.
And you can't get the line there? I'm pretty sure we said the exact same thing about the United one as well. But for me, you got to be consistent, VAR. If the United one is out of bounds, this one's out of bounds. If this one is not out of bounds, neither is the United one, and Manchester United need an apology. One or the other.
So that's the out of bounds ball. Then the ball gets played in from Callum Wilson to Joelinton. And so for me, this is where there's the biggest shout for why this goal should not have been allowed. Joelinton, obviously seeing he's not going to get to the ball because he has Gabriel in front of him. Gabriel's going to head the ball. Joelinton puts 2 hands into the back of Gabriel to try to get him out of the way. I know you've done it as a striker. You nudge that defender a little bit when they're going for a header and it gets them out of the way. That's a foul.
I've done it multiple times, but for me in this, yes, it's a foul. But the biggest thing for me is that Joelinton is not on the ground. He is in the air. So the full weight of his body is pushing Gabriel. If you're a defender, I don't care how big and strong you are. If a man the size of Joelinton is in the air putting his entire weight on your back, you cannot jump off the ground straight up. You will go over. Yes, he went down a little easy, but that is a foul. His arms fully extended, changed Gabriel's trajectory of how he was going to jump, where he looked like he was just going to flick it over the bar. At least the way he was jumping.
Or wherever, yeah. It looked like he would have got his head to it.
It was a foul. I don't care who you are as a football fan. If you do not think this is a foul, you need to go study the rules of the game. I do not care who you are. You do not know the rules of football if you think this is not a foul. I'll stop there.
Heated, man. So it also kind of looks like a handball could have been in there, but I guess I'll revert back to that Sterling goal that was called back because Sterling was the one that scored. It got called because Joe Linton was not the one who scored. It was not called.
But because his touch led to the next touch being a goal,
doesn't
by
matter.
rule of the law,
it was incidental, and so it doesn't matter.
Again, what I was going to get to is there was not conclusive evidence. I couldn't even tell if his hand hit the ball. So
there's not.
I understand.
And it's similar to the next issue, which was the offsides on Anthony Gordon after the ball comes off of Joelinton or Gabrielle, whoever it comes off of. Again, wasn't sufficient evidence. All the angles you see, you either see Gordon or you see the ball, but you cannot see both in the same picture.
You know what camera would have got that? The one on the sideline that would have caught if it was inbounds or out of bounds. It would have seen that. Weird. But no, I honestly, I'm not even upset about. Like, you can't see the ball at all. How are you supposed to be able to tell? And even the other angles where you can see the ball, there's no line that's going to tell me that he was offsides. And if he is, it's like inches. It's the foul for me. That's 100% a foul.
Either way, man, Arsenal didn't create caca in this game. They had one shot on target, and Newcastle's 2 shots on target.
Technically, both teams had 1 shot on target. Technically. Because the second one shouldn't have been a shot on target. It should have been a foul.
Okay. Well, by the result of the game, they had 2 shots on target. But yeah, this was... I will say it was a feisty match, man. I would not have wanted been in that midfield playing against Joe Linton. He is a beast. He's a monster. I do have to give a shout out to Newcastle's defense. Lascelles played fantastic.
Fantastic. Trippier, even left or right, was fantastic.
Livramento when he came on for Dan Burn.
When he came on, yeah.
And I got to shout out Declan Rice. He also looked fantastic for Arsenal in this game. They just need 2 of him, one to play in the 8 and one to play in the 6 role. Then I think they'll be okay.
And I will give a shout out to Miguel Almiron, first player to dribble past William Saliba this season. Props. Now.
So, do you want to talk about Arteta's press conference? I'll let you go into that, man.
I was just going to go into that. So, yeah, something, I mean, if you've listened to this entire episode up to this point, we've had how many instances? 3, 4, 5 instances of VAR.
Yeah, the Maguire goal that wasn't given. You had in Chelsea, yellow and or red on Romero. You had the Wolves penalty that was given.
More than one in this match. Whatever. I agree with Mikel Arteta at the end of this in his press conference. I know there's been a lot of debate whether he's right or wrong, whether he should do it, whether Arsenal should back him up, whatever. But VAR has cost too many teams too many points at this point in the season. We are 11 games in, and you could argue that it has changed results at least 10 times. It's embarrassing. The stakes are too high for these kind of mistakes. I mean, Wolves have been robbed 3 times. United 3+ times.
I feel like Wolves should have 5 more points than they do because of VAR.
They should have beat United technically, but let's go with tie. And they should have won their draw and won this match. Their Sheffield United match. So yes, 5 points. United, I'm not so sure that the decisions would have really changed the games, especially the City one. Arsenal, it's the second time this season. Liverpool got cheated the most out of anybody. Should have 3 more points. I think they would have. I mean, there's 2 mistakes in that match alone where they probably would have beat Tottenham. And numerous other ones.
Goal not being counted?
Weird. And a red card not being given? But numerous other teams have been cheated. And there's too much money at stake. This is too high profile of a league. for simple human error that could have been fixed. One, if it was automated, Liverpool would have been given a goal. That would have been easy. It would have taken 10 seconds. The Chelsea and Tottenham game, we would have cut that time in less than half of the amount of time.
With automated?
With automated. It's ridiculous.
For me, the big issue is that referees not going to the monitor to look at some of this stuff.
Exactly. Like, if you're going to take this long, you should have had the referee at the monitor already and just go over it.
Go take a second look. Make sure you can live with your decision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're going to take 5-10 minutes on a decision, have the referee over there already. Like, hey, we're going to take an extended look at this. Go over to the monitor. Then you're not even wasting any time.
Any more time, at least.
Yeah. But, like, how many apologies are going to be given and how many times must it happen before there's actually anything done about it? Because right now, I mean, last season it cost Arsenal 6 points. I'm not saying it would have cost them, like, that they wouldn't have won the title, but they did lose the title by 5 points. Like, that's hundreds of millions of pounds. Whether or not Arsenal would have won at the end of the day, probably not. Let's be honest. The way they played at the end of last season. But it makes a difference. And you're saying already there's this many teams losing points and gaining points because of it. And I'm just going to throw in there, as I end my rant, that you don't see Manchester City getting any of these calls against them.
Ooh, collusion. Financial breaches not getting punished. And
every single team up and down the table has had at least one. Manchester City have yet to have a controversial VAR call against them. Just saying.
I feel for you, Liverpool.
Yes.
Whole goal not allowed. Make sure you guys let us know on our Instagram, Facebook group. Don't forget to follow our TikTok, YouTube.
Maybe
like, subscribe.
Might just be his beer.
Hit the notification bell. Make sure to check out our Redbubble account. Get the merch, all your favorite Brews and Banter gear. I'm Targo. This is Crazy Redbeard with his power ranking picks. But we love you guys. Thank you so much. As always, cheers.
Cheers.